Okay, testing, 1, 2, 3, that's good. Thank you. All right. Open the doors. Those of you that can be here.
Tell me something, girl. Are you happy in this modern world? Or do you need more? Is there something else you're searching for? I'm falling. In all the good times I find myself longing for change. And in the bad times I fear myself.
Tell me something, boy. Aren't you tired trying to fill that void? Or do you need more? Ain't it hard keeping it so hardcore? I'm falling. In all the good times I find myself longing for change. And in the bad times I fear myself. I'm of the deep end, watch as I dive in. I'll never meet the ground. Crash through the surface where they can't hurt us. We're far from the shallow now. In the shallow, in the shallow, shallow. of our own device. And in the master's chambers, they're gathered for the feast. They stab it with their steely knives, but they just can't kill the beast. Last thing I remember, I was running for the door. I had to find the passage back to the place I was before. Relax, said the night man, we are programmed to receive. You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave.
Welcome everybody. Thank you all for coming. Today we're here to honour Ricky, Rick as he likes to be known, father of Latricia, Jacinta, Quinn, Amaya, Shakira, Shian, Nicholas and Chase. Father of 8. He's also son of Denise Parmenter and Peter English, grandson to Joan and Alfred Parmenter, and Joan and Les Bowen. Sorry, please come in. Thank you. So I'd like to start just taking a minute's silence with Ricky, and in that minute, find one of your happiest moments that you remember him and how he impacted on your life. So just take one moment at your leisure. So as you come back in, I want you all to look at me. And I want you to squint your eyes and let the tears come through. Squint those eyes, let the tears come through. And in the squinting and the glassiness and the fuzziness that you see in your eyes, look at my grandparents and my mother standing behind me. I know they're here with us because I'd fall over if they weren't. Thank you all coming today for enjoying Rick, to remember Rick. Thank you aunties and uncles and friends and families. I'll do my best to make this a memorable and celebrational of Rick and his passing. Today I'm emotional about Rick passing. In saying that, it's my responsibility to share what his passing meant to me in the celebration of his life. I see he must be acknowledged for both being my strength and my mentor when we were children. I see his successes today, my successes today, as his successes also. When Rick was born, the first 18 months he had his mum and dad to himself. He started to build a home. The parents started to build a home. They started to build a home on some land, a castle and a kingdom, for Rick to grow and learn. He ruled the roost and he was loved as a firstborn has a special place in every parent's heart. Then I came along, second born, and his younger brother. Rick, he did not know this was part of the deal. When I was brought home, and for the first time when we were introduced, please come in. When we were introduced for the first time, he threw a matchbox car at me. He wasn't ready to share his kingdom yet. Soon he discovered that I'd be a good playmate for him, and the bond was created. The earliest I can remember is us waking up in Mum and Dad's bed. We're going through the cupboards and looking for Christmas and Easter presents. Together we mischievously shared the kingdom. We had our wonderful grandparents, Alf and Joan, living next door, teaching us and telling us stories of wars, heroes and villains. Aunties and uncles would come over all the time and spend time with us. They brought us presents from all over the world. Thank you, Uncle Dennis, for the slot cart track from Japan. Ricky loved it. We ate freshly caught fish, homemade chips regularly, fine ripened tomatoes, and vegetables straight from the garden. For a long time, Ricky never ate junk food. I remember wonderful Christmases. So many awesome toys and backyard games, swimming pools, family parties, cousins' visits. Did I mention the yummiest food? Rick was the life of the party. We had so many animals. We had horses and dogs that were horses. We had cats, geese and chickens and guinea fowls and lizards, and a cockatoo named Willie. I remember we became professional frilly lizard catchers. Rick loved animals. I remember Ricky getting 12 stitches in his leg trying to jump his push bike. He wanted me to be tough, and we played tough. We played rough. Often our wrestles turned into skirmishes, and often our skirmishes sometimes turned into fisticuffs. But at the end of the day, we loved each other. And he was very proud of me. We'd have day-long mock wars using sticks as machine guns and bow and arrows made from the pencil willows that Dad planted, the pencil willow trees. We also had the most intense games of Red Rover with anybody who was brave enough to join in. It was a place to be in Frederick Street. Our first business joint venture was collecting a bag of bush mangoes and going door to door flogging them off as Bowen mangoes, because we were Bowens after all. I'm pretty sure that we wouldn't be the only Bowens to try that one out. So I want to play you a song in honour of our first joint venture.
On a warm summer's evening, on a train bound for nowhere, I met up with a gambler. We were both too tired to sleep, so we took turns of staring out the window at the darkness till boredom overtook us, and he began to speak. He said, "Son, I've made a life out of reading people's faces and knowing what the cards were by the way they held their eyes. So if you don't mind my saying, I can see you're out of aces. For a taste of your whiskey, I'll give you some advice." So I handed him my bottle and he drank down my last swallow. Then he bummed a cigarette and asked me for a light, and the night got deathly quiet, and his face lost all expression. Said, if you're gonna play the game, boy, you gotta learn to play it right. You got to know when to hold up, know when to fold up, know when to walk away, and know when to run. You never count your money when you're sitting at the table. There'll be time enough for counting when the dealing's done. Every gambler knows that the secret to surviving is knowing what to throw away, knowing what to keep. 'Cause every hand's a winner and every hand's a loser, and the best that you can hope for is to die in your sleep. And when he'd finished speaking, he turned back toward the window, crushed out his cigarette, faded off to sleep. And somewhere in the darkness, the gambler, he broke even. But in his final words, I found an ace that I could keep. You got to know when to hold up, know when to fold up, know when to walk away, and know when to run. You never count your money when you're sitting at the table. There'll be time enough for counting when the dealing's done. You got to know when to hold up, when to hold up, know when to fold up, know when to walk away, and know when to run. You never count your money when you're sitting at the table. There'll be time enough for counting when the dealing's done. You got to know when to hold up, know when to fold up, know when to walk away, and know when to run. You never count your money when you're sitting at the table. There'll be time enough for counting when the deal is done.
Thank you, Maestro. Okay, so next I've got a message from Dennis, Ricky's brother. I had dinner with him the other night, and he doesn't do funerals well. It's a bit emotional for him, so I asked him, what are some memories that you can remember? And you telling me this, I will tell everyone your memories, and that will be your contribution to the funeral or this session. And so he did, and these are the stories that he told me. Ricky used to look after us when Mum was at work. He drew pictures, tattoos all over me. One day he bought me a stick-on scorpion, and I loved it. He taught me about travelling. Anything around Australia, Ricky has done it. He's been around Australia twice, you know. He taught me about loving animals and looking after dogs. When we knew Rick was coming home, Mel and I would run to the top of the driveway and run down beside him while he was arriving. We were always excited to see him. Thank you, Dennis. So the next passage I want to read is a message from my Uncle Dennis. He couldn't be here, he had an appointment, and it was something to do with his health, and there was a 6-month waiting list, and if he missed that appointment, he wouldn't be able to get back in for 6 months. So I have a written testimony from him that I'll read to you now. My sincere apologies for not being able to attend the celebrations of Ricky's life. Bloody doctors, he said. My fondest memories of Rick was during the childhood at Frederick Street. Ricky and his siblings Shane, Dennis and Melissa all enjoyed the freedom that their mother gave them and had the extra luxury of having grandparents living next door. Lucky bugger, if Mum and Dad said no, he would just go up to Grandma. Being the firstborn, he was always special to her. I ran away and joined the Navy. Uncle Dennis ran away and joined the Navy for 10 years, but every time I was granted leave, I couldn't wait till I get home to see the kids. One time when I visited, Rick had a dog, a bloody big dog, called Ben, placid, and could be until you had a few refreshments, and then he was a mongrel. He would bite you on the head. Ricky laughed his head off at me when Ben and I were no longer friends. Another memorable time was when I took them presents from home from one of my overseas trips. Ricky and Shane got a slot car set, Dennis a car, and Melissa got a beautiful talking doll. All good until we turned the doll on and it was speaking Japanese. Ricky always ribbed me about that whenever we caught up. After his mum's funeral, we had a few beers. He never mentioned anything about his troubles. This is the sign of a man who didn't want to bother anyone with his problems. Commendable, but this must have been tough. In a life, we all choose the road which we travel. We all have been on the wrong road at times during our lives. It's getting off the road which is the hardest. They say it's no good. That it is no good going to the grave with a well-preserved body. You have to be thrown in sideways, saying, "Wow, that was a ride." Ricky was the latter. Although taken from us much too early, he's now up there with Mum. Say hello to her. We will see us shortly. My family pass on their sincere condolences to Ricky and his family and friends. It's such a pity in life that we all head off on our own journey, and when we do, sometimes we neglect the most important things in our life. That's family. Rest in peace, young man. The world was a better place with you in it. Thank you, Uncle Dennis. So what happened to Rick? You might have seen Peter Pan on your booklet. To me, Ricky, he was never ready to let that awesome childhood go. Ricky's fairy tale is Peter Pan. He went into Neverland to save the children and never to grow up. So now I want to share a poem that I wrote. Now I'll warn you in advance. I write all right poems, but I'm really crap at reading them. So I'll do my best as an honour to him. Ricky. As a child, I have many fond memories. Running, riding around and eating mulberries. He taught me so much about life, right, wrong and good and bad. Was at times the closest friend that I ever had. To me, he was a lad who was strong. I would peer across my bedroom at him enjoying a rock song. I always wanted to follow him on adventures. We'd run away from home and eat disgusting creek creatures. We would spend a whole day climbing trees. We'd create bush structures and pretend to be Aborigines. He was wild at heart and would always be on his own agenda. He was my guard, my posse, and my integrity defender. He was always the life of the party and quick to tell a joke, always taking the piss and testing me out with a joke. Testing me out with a poke. Told you. I choose to remember Rick this way, and recently when we had a chat, he did say, "You're looking grey around the gills, mate." This made me laugh, as it was true to state. My last chat was by phone across the sea. He was still Rick, however, he was ready. The next day he would pass over. His heart would stop and never recover. So today I thank you, Rick, for helping me build my character. Rest in peace knowing our brotherhood is a contributing factor. To my life and the legacy we create, you will always be my brother, friend and mate. So mark this day on your calendar's date, where our brother, son and soldier accepted his fate. Thank you. Rick was a character in every sense of the word. I look forward to hearing some of the classic stories that are sure to be told today. Some will be funny and some will be sad, however, there will all be a statement that Rick existed. Now, Rick didn't sing much, but however, there was an occasion as a teen, I was sitting in his room and he gave me the perfect rendition of George Thorogood, Bad to the Bone. It was priceless. So my heart goes out to his 9 children. Oh, sorry, 8 children. Sorry, I get it mixed up sometimes. 8 children who may never really know Rick like I did. Just the love of our brother and sister and look for the greatness in them. That we will one way to know your Father, He'll be watching you over in spirit. I want to leave you with a couple of sayings. Remember, all communication is a communication for love. There's no other form of communication. And the ones that are hardest to love are the ones that need it the most. So thank you all for coming. There's a gazebo down in the garden. We'll have some tea and coffee. I would like Rick's kids. Jacinta's here today. She's here to represent those children. I would like to, if we can, we have a flower for you. We have a flower, another 7 for all the other children as well. I'd like you to take it in appreciation for Rick's life. Take the flower as a symbol. Sorry guys, it's here. They're coming. Thank you. Thank you. Take this flower as a symbol of that blossom and past to go back into the soil. There are 3 paradoxes in life. There's 3 rules in life. Paradox, humour and change. Paradox, life is a mystery, don't try and work it out. Humour, have humour, especially about yourself. And change, just know that change is inevitable. Thank you very much. Maestro, you're up. Please, everyone, at your own perusal, head down to the gazebo, have a cup of tea, tell a story. If any of you want to have a chat with me, I'll be here for another 10 or 15 minutes.
And the walls kept tumbling down in the city that we love. Great clouds all over the hills, bringing darkness from above. But if you close your eyes, does it almost feel like nothing changed at all? And if you close your eyes, does it almost feel like you've been here before? How am I gonna be an optimist about this? How am I gonna be an optimist about this? We were caught up and lost in all of our vices. In your pose as the dust settled around us, and the walls kept tumbling down in the city that we love. Great clouds roll over the hills, bringing darkness from above. But if you close your eyes, does it almost feel like nothing changed at all?